Hello and welcome. Today we're going to be taking a look at the DJI Osmo Pocket 3 and comparing it to the Sony A6700. Both of these cameras have AI functionality that can track your face or track you in the frame, and we're going to be taking a look at that. And then inherently, you'll also be able to see the difference in the video quality that comes out of these two cameras. My name is Cree, and on this channel, I talk about tech with context. Now, many times when I'm shooting videos here for my YouTube channel, or if I'm out with a client, I would like to be better about capturing behind the scenes footage. Now, oftentimes, no matter what I'm shooting, I am focused on the task at hand. So, yep, I can set up a camera in the corner and shoot video. But these cameras have AI functionality built into them now. The DJI Osmo Pocket 3 has face tracking, and then the Sony A6700 and other Sony cameras now allow you to auto frame wherever it is that you're shooting. So what that means is that these cameras will reframe and or follow you, and it makes it look like you have a second shooter or you have someone behind the camera that's actually moving the camera around. So that's why I purchased these two cameras. That's what we're going to look at today. We won't get too deep into the functionality, but you'll be able to see how these cameras operate. Additionally, you'll be able to see the footage, you'll be able to see the detail, and we'll get into those types of details in this video. When it comes to settings for these cameras, I'm making them as similar as possible. So I am shooting in 4K, 24 frames per second on both cameras. I am also using this standard picture profile so that you can see the difference. On the DJI Osmo Pocket 3, their functionality is actually called face tracking, so I have that turned on. And I'm also using their wide angle lens. All you do is attach it to the camera using magnets. This is pretty cool because it gives you a nice wide view. For the Sony A6700, I'm shooting with a Sigma 10 to 18 millimeter lens. I'm shooting as wide as I can at 10 millimeters, and their functionality is called Autoframing. So I do have that turned on, and now let's get into some samples. Right now, you are looking at footage out of the DJI Osmo Pocket 3, and you can see as I give you a tour of the space, this camera is using that face tracking technology really just to track where I'm going. This is the background you typically see in my YouTube videos. Over here, this is where I record podcasts for both myself and clients. So I have my Shure SM7Bs all set up and ready to go and capture podcast interviews whenever I'd like to. You can do single or multi-person interviews over here. We've got more storage, big surprise in a YouTube studio or a studio space. And then this is my key light that I have on wheels. So I can just move this wherever I need to, anytime that I need a key light or to light up this space as much as I like. All right, right now you're looking at footage coming out of the Sony A6700. This functionality is called Autoframing. And in giving a quick tour of the studio, this is where I sit and do all my editing at my desk. I've got my Rodecaster Pro 2 set up, and I do all of my conference calls and streaming over there in the corner. And this is the typical background that you see on my YouTube videos right here behind us. And if you go over to the right here, you can see that this is the podcast space. And now this is the podcast space. This is where I capture podcasts for both myself and my clients. I can sit right here. I've got my microphones all set up and ready to go in this space. And over here to the right, this is where I have storage set up. And then this is where I also store my key light that I can roll around here in the studio and place this really wherever I want. And finally, my desk setup where I film most of my YouTube videos, the talking head portion of my videos from here and back around to the desk where I do all of my editing and all of my daily work. Now, some things that I did not test today, I just wanted to show a general idea of how this functionality works. But with the DJI Osmo Pocket 3, if you notice that footage, my face is always like right in the middle of the frame. You can change that setting so you can make it so it places your face like at the top middle of the screen or to the right or to the left. So you can actually customize wherever you'd like that camera to frame. And then with the Sony A6700, what you can do on that camera is you can set different framing sizes. So let's say you only want to frame the face, or you only want to frame like the middle of your body, or you want a full-size frame. So there's small, medium, and large different framing settings that you can use in that camera. Again, I didn't show each of those settings today just for the sake of time, and we're just looking at a high-level overview of what these two cameras can do. So general impressions. As far as image quality, I did like the Sony A6700 footage better than the DJI Osmo Pocket 3 footage. But if you noticed on the Sony footage, when the camera zoomed in, you saw that the quality decreased, especially when I sat down on this chair right here and showed you my working space. As far as the DJI camera goes, I mean, it's an action camera, so I already know I'm not going to get the best quality of footage. I'm more concerned about what I capture so that I can share behind the scenes more than anything else. Apart from that, the big differences were with the DJI camera, I could set it up in the middle of the room and I didn't have to pick the camera up and move it at all during that entire tour. However, if you noticed, where I started the tour and where I ended the tour, that's as far as that camera would go. So it doesn't rotate an entire 360 degrees. That gimbal doesn't rotate all the way around. It would be cool if DJI did include that in a future firmware update or something. I don't know. But it does capture most of the room. As far as the Sony, I did have to pick that camera up on 4 different occasions to rotate it around the room. Now, I was able to capture the entire 360-degree tour, but again, I had to move the camera. And when it comes to setting a camera up and forgetting it, then I think the DJI wins in that case because I could just set that camera up in a corner and it's going to capture most of the room. Whereas I think with the Sony, I could set it up and maybe capture like a quarter of the room. So that is the big difference between the two that I noticed. But hey, overall, I mean, these are cameras that I'm definitely going to continue using and testing out, seeing and pushing them to their capabilities. I am so excited to have this functionality though, because it's only going to get better from here. And as more people use AI functionality, they're going to be able to auto frame, probably be able to fine tune these settings more in the future. And that's what I'm really looking forward to. So if you are as excited as I am about this, I invite you to subscribe to the channel so that you can see future videos about this. Also hit that thumbs up if you liked today's video. Thanks as always so much for tuning in, and I'll see you again in next week's video.